Chapter 1. The story begins with a paladin praying before his battle. However, this tale isn't about him. Rather, this is the point of view of the final boss. To him, there exist numerous toys in the world, such as this dude, the paladin who gains power from their gods. As the paladin recites his final prayer and prepares to battle the boss, he got that Monty Python reference, like the same scene where all of his limbs were disassembled, 'tis but a scratch. With that, the last boss sent him to his lord to praise him more, moving on with this old, edgy man, thinking that he can win this fight as he doesn't have much time. With confidence, this old edge lord stated that today was his wedding anniversary with his wife. To him, it is a shame, but he needed to end the quick fight. Little did he know that it was his funeral instead, as the boss killed the old edgelord brutally. Lastly, the boss encounters a cute little girl as he sees her entering his domain. It is revealed that this is happening at the highest and final stage of the tower dungeon. Now, this ponytail smiles, acting all cute as she got lost in the tower. Suddenly, she rushes to Rasengan his ass, calling him a goat head, and to his surprise, it did hurt him. However, in the end, as usual, the last boss wins, and this ponytail girl begs for her life. But of course, that wouldn't happen as he is quite mad. As he finishes killing those three as an example, the last boss then addresses us, the viewers, letting us realize that he is the final boss of the highest floor in the tower dungeon. To him, the fact that all his enemies, or so-called toys, will die by his hands is inevitable, like Thanos. And here, it is revealed the face of a demon with the body of a minotaur and the head of a goat with devil horns. His name is Baphomet, the ruler of the tower, the assessor that discerns the grade of the toys, with the moments when toys or enemies visited him being the events that give him the greatest thrill. There are also moments of him having the greatest despair. It was then when he grew bored on his throne due to the characteristic of the door never opening for him. In other words, he is unable to go to the world where toys or humans live. What he can only do is to wait aimlessly until a new toy opens the door, and he has to ponder on how he will spend the times of boredom until that moment arrives. And of course, to him, this was frustrating, as he sees himself as a prisoner. With frustration, he tries to punch and destroy the door, fed up with his boredom on his throne. He asks himself and the dungeon on why he is the only one trapped here and unable to leave the dungeon. While he was frustrated, he was startled to hear a ringtone behind him. To his surprise, he saw a phone lying on the floor but didn't know what it was. To him, it was just an item from the toy that he had just killed. With that, he got a great idea about it. Hours passed by and a new toy arrived. With confidence, this dude thought he would kill the last boss and become the greatest hunter. But in the end, he got beaten up. Get wrecked, my dude. This hunter begged down to our boy Baphomet to spare him. Our big boy started to approach the hunter, making him scared. But to his surprise, Baphomet showed his iPhone 15 to the hunter, surprising him. Out of curiosity, our boy asked the hunter what it was used for and how to use it. The hunter looked like a salesman for a moment, telling the big boy that his phone model can be unlocked with facial recognition. And so, Baphomet cut off the head of the phone's ex-owner, unlocking it. The hunter looked like me when I'm teaching my mother with her new phone, where he explained to Baphomet about a camera and how it can be used to store precious moments. So, both of them formed a friendship, like one of those white girls from Instagram. As Baphomet learned about this, he wondered what kind of world the humans lived in. Moreover, the hunter even showed him that he couldn't even listen to music. To him, it was only a drug permitted by the government. As he kept explaining about the phone, the hunter sneakily moved silently as he reached for his sword, planning to swing it at Baphomet. Just as he was about to swing, the hunter told Baphomet to depart. But Baphomet already knew that, as he easily killed the hunter while he was distracted with his phone. And to that, he had become something he had come to enjoy inside this tower. As he realized this, he was now thinking that he hadn't even gathered all the items that the humans dropped, and so he scavenged around the dead bodies and saw many types of items, like a collection of porn stars and Japanese porn codes. This poor dude left a valuable item. Anyways, to him, he always scavenges useless stuff, sometimes interesting. The first time he sees things he hasn't seen yet, he wonders how all the items are used. Sometimes with these items, he's able to learn about how humans live. While he was listening to music, he almost forgot that there was a problem. The more he came to know about the world of humans, the more his desire to see the real world, not the illusion before his eyes, grew. In the world of humans, there is a superstition that being called God grants them wishes. If God really exists, he wonders if he'd grant his wish as well. The music stops as his phone dies and is low on battery. He gets goosebumps for acting so pathetic like that. To him, it's not like him. Suddenly, he notices that the tower is howling, knowing that someone is approaching the top floor. So he was ready as he sat on his throne, waiting for a new opponent. He doesn't even expect anything at that point, knowing it's going to be broken quickly as usual. But this time it was different. The man enters menacingly like a really powerful hunter, approaches him inside the tower. With the dead silence of the hunter, look towards our boy, Baphomet. Feels different with this as he feels the spoils of war, and so he began to fight that powerful hunter and was amazed about that human on how he moves skillfully. To dodge all of his attacks, the unknown hunter begins to give it all as he summons blue fire around him and began attacking it with Baphomet. To him, this was new, and this was his wishes dearly. Baphomet smiles as he knows that the unknown hunter is strong. That dude was the highest grade. As the strong hunter strikes him with a strong attack, he was surprised that Baphomet summoned a really strong barrier around him, avoiding the hunter's strong attack. Both of them fight each other again, but much more seriously, to the point where our villain is getting fired up, mixed with emotions that he has forgotten that all this time he was looking for a really strong fighter. And so Baphomet gave it all as he summoned a powerful spell to that hunter. The god of the dungeon heard this and gave a main quest to our villain to kill the hunter named Raven. The reward is the desire that he wishes for, to become a human. Sadly, our boy Baphomet got stabbed in the heart by this hunter named Raven. Raven wins and was notified that he had cleared the Tower of Abyss, that the tower will soon crumble, asking to depart from that place. As Raven walks away, Baphomet only saw the back of Raven. With humiliation and frustration, our boy tries to pull out the sword from his chest. Suddenly, the highest tower explodes, and it doesn't show what happened after that. As the tower completely crumbles to the ground, all the workers find multiple corpses around them, wondering how many hunters died attempting to clear the Tower of Abyss. Suddenly, they notice a man who looks to be a survivor, a naked man who stares at the streetlights. The workers are surprised and concerned about him, asking if he is okay. The naked man is confused about where he is. It is revealed that it is our boy Baphomet who got his wishes and knows that he died. It is revealed that this scene where Baphomet rises surprises Raven. The hunter attacks Baphomet with blue flame, but to his surprise, it doesn't have any effect on Baphomet, as Baphomet's face was burned off. Raven gets terrified at the sight, but he didn't expect what happened next. Baphomet punches through Raven's chest, like Ace from One Piece or Rengoku from Demon Slayer, turning Raven into a donut. This big boy took Raven's heart as he savagely destroyed it, and that's how he only remembers that he killed Raven, but still confused as to why he was still alive. Now we go back to the present where the workers question him. They ask if he is a hunter who was in the tower and inquire if he would like to undergo some background checks. They also ask for his name. Our boy smiles and thinks about a name. While doing so, he remembers what he saw about the main quest to kill the hunter named Raven, where he completed that quest and accomplishes his wishes. And so, our boy just names himself his usual name, Baphomet, as a human. The story shifts to how their world system works. The hunters are those who fight against the monsters that exist inside the gates and towers, and the position of the hunter wasn't that great until that day called the gate shock. That phenomenon occurs when a tower isn't dealt with for a long time, resulting in monsters breaking through the gates. The gate shock eliminates 1/3 of the world's population. After that incident, people started to train hunters to clear the towers. And the final boss? Our boy Baphomet, who is the ruler of the Tower of Abyss, and most of the hunters die at his hands. He is the one who was captivated by humans and chose to become a human himself. However, the people mistook him for someone who came out alive as a hero who cleared the Abyss Tower. All the reporters are thinking that he is the hunter who defeated Baphomet, asking numerous questions about him. The people wanted to see the heroic power he possessed. Unfortunately, he had lost his power, and he got degraded to the con artist of the century, from the ruler of the tower to a lower-level worker. He was disappointed that the idol of the underworld he had become the backstreet leader of the dungeon quarry. In that place, Baphomet was idolized there and acknowledged as their leader. In the quarry, another new member has been hired, and he politely introduced himself to them. At the same time, one of the workers welcomes him as he saw the guy full of energy. He noticed that the newcomer is nervous and asks if he has ever worked at the quarry, to which the guy responds that it was his first time. The old employee explained that he should not worry about it, as it is not that difficult. They are just doing simple labor that requires strength. The newbie is still nervous and notices that the quarry is massive. The old guy acknowledges this and explains that it wasn't that huge a few months ago. He further explains that it's all due to hunters who opened up the area as they defeated the monsters. He elaborates that they are in charge of Area C and D, where the newbie will be working in the area of D. He reassured the newbie that he won't be bored since he worked in Area D, where rare gems are found. As they conversed, they heard a group of people, and it's none other than our boy Baphomet, who is the leader of their pack. The newbie noticed them and asked about them, but the old guy forgot to tell him that he should never associate with the group of Baphomet. He explained that they are nasty delinquents who have crawled their way into the mining ground. They saw them as evil guys who persistently bully someone they don't like, especially their leader Baphomet, and he warned the newbie not to go near to him. The newbie, still feeling nervous, wondered why those guys are working in their place. The old man sighed and told him that there is no other way. He explained that the operation really likes Baphomet a lot since our boy is really good at the job. On the other hand, the head of that place praised Baphomet's group for their great job that month, but still, all of them are still delinquent, as they don't appreciate how they receive their money. The head then gave Baphomet his salary, but for no reason. We can see our villain shaking unknowingly, and all of his group noticed that as well. So they tried to calm him down as they pampered their boss with something to eat, even inviting him to play some games at the cafe. One guy noticed him and asked a curious question. He asked, where does he send all the money that he earned from work? Of course, all of them are baffled by what question that was, so one of their members stops him as he slaps that guy. He explained that their boss will probably say it when the time is right, and so he was sorry about that. Here we can see Baphomet still shaking with a hint of anger and annoyance. Suddenly, Baphomet screams with frustration out of nowhere. He thinks of what the guy said about where his money went, and he reveals that his money is always going to that quack doctor. You see, at that time, when our boy had hit rock bottom after being portrayed as a con artist, after getting injured, he had to go to the hospital operated by a quack doctor. But he didn't have any money to pay the doctor. He remembers that doctor who is a hot, yummy mommy, recalling her words about his situation being troubling and that there's nothing they can do about it. However, that mommy doctor made an offer for him to pay with his body. Oh, god damn, Baphomet got some horny, sadistic mommy. Ah, that is also my dream. Anyways, when our boy came to his senses, he was already working at the quarry to earn money that he could send back to that mommy, and he accepted that where it was better than doing nothing. He remembers when he was starting to get annoyed since it was getting difficult to go out after his face was plastered everywhere because of the nationwide scam show. However, annoying things started to happen at the quarry as well. At that time, he wasn't known, where all the delinquents bullied him as they made fun of our boy about him being a famous guy. He remembers that there were a few humans who recognized him, as he tried to ignore them over and over again. But did our big boy Baphomet tolerate them? Nah, he beat the shit out of those delinquents, pummeling them to the ground, making them his bitches as he became the boss, who is always like that in the first place. Some strong delinquents heard that Baphomet is a pretty good fighter and asked for a match, but of course, in the end he got fucked by our boy, up anyone who met his eyes. So after that, one by one, some guys started to stick beside him and ended up having to play out being in delinquent groups. But of course, our boy doesn't really want that in the first place. He remembers his wishes, that this wasn't the human world life that he was planning to enjoy. Suddenly, a Baphomet monster wannabe attacked the quarry. But in the end, that monster got defeated by the guards, who are the hunters, protecting the workers. The two hunters forgot to inform them that they haven't cleared the area, so they can't come to that place. Baphomet sees those hunters that he wanted to be like that as part of his plan and wishes, and not the useless power to beat up humans. That sort of power is the reason why he lost his power, because he turned into a human. Now he regrets and wonders why he would become and try to become a human, where he remembered that he really wanted to look cool and strong like Raven. Suddenly, all of Baphomet's members are praising their boss, saying he is cooler than those hunters. This surprises our boy, as other members are not amused by the hunters, considering them just awakened people who were nothing special. They believe they could beat them up easily if they hadn't awakened. Baphomet's mind is thinking that they are wrong and is still in denial. However, all of his members continue talking about how the hunters are just lucky, getting something for nothing, just because they lucked out. Baphomet begins to agree with his members and slowly appreciates them like one of his buddies and not just toys. With that, all of the members notice that their boss is smiling and wonder if he is thinking something nice. This surprises him as well, shocked that he was smiling. With no other reason to say, he just tells them that they are just funny guys. All the members are dumbfounded by his answer and start asking who was the funniest, making a bet on whoever makes them. Both smile, first takes all. Upon hearing that, it hits him. This was the feeling that he had felt before, that feeling when he used to play with his toys in the tower and felt enjoyment. Now he ponders if he could have been longing for power to fill the enjoyment that he felt in that tower. However, now he can feel it, even if he doesn't fight. He has become a human now. And now we can see our boy's face brimming with smiles. It's as if he doesn't regret becoming a human. It means that even without power, he can enjoy being a human with his friends. Suddenly, all of them ask him a question if he really has a real name, and to his response that he had one, but he doesn't use it anymore. This amazed one of the members. The fact he got some kind of backstory which is cool to them. And so they wonder if they could use their name for him, where one of the members recalls his parents that they put their heart and soul into coming up with the name, but it couldn't see the light of day. They thought it might be pleasing if someone as handsome and cool as their boss uses that name. And so when Baphomet asked the member's name, suddenly a blast of fire appears, hitting all of them. For a moment, Baphomet was knocked out cold and was surprised that he wasn't injured at all. As he looks around, he saw his friends and other workers ablaze in flames. Beside him is one of the members and the one who saved our boy. Baphomet saw the lifeless body of his cherished friend and soon saw all of them dead on the ground. With sadness and anger, he went back to the time where he forgot that humans are fragile beings. Baphomet now started to feel rage mixed with sadness. To him, it was just starting to get fun. And so he curses the one who destroyed his happiness as he wonders who is responsible for this. Suddenly, that mysterious entity appears again, smiling at Baphomet. At the same time, we can see the two hunters dealing with someone. That someone was the guy from earlier, the newbie guy, as he revealed something much more powerful than those two hunters. One of the hunters recognized the newbie guy, whom he so-called the robbing hunter. He thought that it was just baseless rumors that there was a hunter that attacked to steal the spoils, where it turns out the newbie is the one who is responsible for that. Both of the hunters wondered about the few injured people. One hunter pondered on the possibility of them surviving after getting treated, but they shouldn't focus on that. They should focus on battling the criminal. But then they realized that their opponent is much stronger. They debated if they should run away. It was revealed that the criminal is a B-rank hunter and that they won't stand a chance. However, they can't leave the civilians behind and run by themselves. When the guy was planning to let his friend get away, the B-rank hunter swiftly chops the hunter's head, dying instantly. The newbie dude just mocked her dead friend for talking a lot, but then the last hunter tries to kill the criminal. However, it was futile as he chopped one of her legs. Suddenly, he summons all of his lackeys, and a portal appears, where 4 of them are ready to loot the quarry. The newbie dude is now planning to harvest body parts, and was planning to sell her as well. Of course, this surprises the girl after hearing that, and so she then tries to ask why they were doing that. The newbie approaches her and tells her that they masked themselves as the robbing hunter. However, the girl is surprised as he reveals something that makes her much more terrified by the looks on her face. As soon as she heard that, she screams, asking someone to help her, while everyone is scavenging around to look for some good equipment and rare items that they can sell. While they are estimating their profits and the items that they can sell, the girl keeps screaming and crying for help. While the newbie guy is planning to loot all the stuff in that quarry, he sees one of his team head flying off. As he turns around, he is surprised to see a man who killed 2 of his lackeys saving the girl. Baphomet asks, who was the one who killed off his friends with anger? Earlier, while he was enraged, he saw a hidden quest appear in front of him about feeling anger on behalf of a human, where his reward will be the power he truly desires. And so there he was, about to complete that quest. Earlier, Baphomet had seen the groups responsible for what happened earlier. As he picks up a sword, he gains a unique skill. When using an item that belongs to another person, its performance decreases to 0%. However, due to his mysterious reincarnation, the system got errored, and he gained a passive skill called the Master of Weapons, which has been activated. This skill includes weapon theft, which is automatically used due to the activation of the passive called the Master of Weapons. As it was activated, he used it on the 2 lackeys of that newbie, and that was what happened earlier. As the criminal heard Baphomet about toys, he just started to mock him about being too old to use toys. This angers our boy as he rushes to kill all of them. The leader of the group panics and commands them to get into their positions, while he was surprised that Baphomet was a hunter, and so he wanted to test his strength. Suddenly, the 2 rush to kill Baphomet, but to their surprise, he easily deflects their attacks, and one guy gets stabbed right through his head. The other one panics as he rushes to chop Baphomet, but of course it was futile. Our boy grabs him and quickly chops his head like a chicken. As he finishes the 4 lackeys, Baphomet gazes fiercely at the newbie. However, the newbie is excited and amused by Baphomet's strength, where he tells him that he passed. So he suddenly tries to slash our boy, but manages to block it. As the 2 of them face each other, the newbie guy smirks as he tells our boy that he is pretty valuable and asks what his rank is. They soon begin to fight each other again as the newbie guy thinks that Baphomet is much higher than a C rank. However, Baphomet is surprised that the dude manages to gaze his face. So this newbie guy asks him why a hunter like him is hiding there, disguised as a bully, as he thinks that Baphomet is doing the same thing as him. This dude continues taunting Baphomet and quickly rushes towards him with his incredible speed. As our big boy tries to dodge, he is surprised that the dude is so fast that he doesn't even see that he got sliced on his shoulder, face, and more. Now, Baphomet is struggling as the newbie continuously slices our boy's skin very quickly. The newbie guy smiles, confident that Baphomet can't handle him. His chainsaw is a counter to opponents who rely on their physique, and it's even more effective against someone who doesn't have any experience in fighting hunters. Moreover, he sees our big boy as a precious resource that he will specially cut away at and finish off. But did our big boy Baphomet give up? Nah, Baphomet manages to spot the newbie's attack and eventually stops it. Of course, that dude is surprised to see that. Suddenly, Baphomet's passive activates, called the Outburst Break. In the case of serious bleeding, his abilities will increase by 15%, more like Olaf from League of Legends. The newbie dude is surprised that Baphomet managed to block his attack all of a sudden after seeing all that. To him, it is unfair. Suddenly, he doesn't see as our boy charges a powerful punch towards that dude. The newbie guy is affected a little bit, however, Baphomet doesn't stop attacking. The guy manages to block it, but is surprised that Baphomet's blows are coming quickly, making it difficult to defend himself. Then again, without any hesitation, Baphomet tries to hit that dude with a strong strike, but the guy manages to get away from it. But that doesn't stop Baphomet as he quickly rushes to the newbie dude again. Now that dude is starting to panic and is irritated that Baphomet is much superior to him, and so the newbie dude gives it his all as he unleashes his weapon, but then again, Baphomet quickly evades that attack as he ducks. This makes the dude even more terrified by our big boy's gaze. From the dude's perspective, he doesn't know what he's fighting against, as he imagines that he is fighting the devil. Due to panic, he lets his guard down and loses his arm to Baphomet. As Baphomet cuts him, he states that his arm is for the sake of the guy who always pushed him to the front lines. Baphomet then cuts off another arm and tells him that this is revenge from that old man Saitama, who was always quiet. Baphomet proceeds to cut off his other leg as it was from the fatty guy who always had a foot on him. The newbie dude is terrified as he pleads for mercy, but Baphomet proceeds to cut off his last limb. This is for the guy named Chamin Wu, the guy who protected his boss. Lastly, Baphomet points his sword at the newbie dude's chest. The newbie dude doesn't know what's going on, as his strength is much higher. Finally, our boy stabs him in the heart as payment for making him angry. As Baphomet finishes them all, he begins to feel hot, a heavy consequence bound to follow those who seek power. Baphomet receives a debuff called Berserk, which yearns for murder, activated due to the passive outburst. With that, Baphomet wants to kill more humans. He spots a hunter lying on the ground. In his mind, he recalls his past life of killing all humans. As he is about to swing his sword at her, Baphomet hears a voice from afar. People are investigating calmly and see that one survivor is trying to kill another survivor. One agent is about to report, but the other agent interrupts him, asking to stop the transceiver. On the other hand, Baphomet sees a couple of agents and starts to recall that he has seen their faces somewhere before. As Baphomet is about to attack them, the mysterious entity appears again to stop him, unwilling to let Baphomet die. It uses its power to make Baphomet fall asleep, and our big boy collapses unconscious to the ground, leaving the two agents confused. While he is unconscious, remembers the past when he was once a monster, and it was calling out to him, asking for his opinion. His response is to kill all humans on Earth, putting the name of Baphomet on the line. Suddenly, his dreams change as he remembers Raven, who stabbed him from behind, calling him weak and stating that only death awaits the weak. He then wakes up from that terrible dream, confused about where he is and what just happened. Suddenly, Baphomet hears a voice through a speaker asking who he is. However, the agent doesn't respond immediately, instead recognizing Baphomet's identity as the individual who scammed the entire world by falsely claiming to have cleared the Tower of Abyss. The agent questions whether Baphomet is attempting another scam and whether he has killed all the hunters. Furthermore, the agents reveal that they have been investigating Baphomet, but nothing concrete has turned up. Although Baphomet's name or identity cannot be found in any records, they acknowledge that he possesses the strength of a hunter, leading them to suspect that he may be someone who hasn't registered as a hunter or is in the process of awakening. They demand to know what his true identity is. As the agent continues to speak, Baphomet abruptly punches the mirror, interrupting the conversation. Baphomet responded to the agent's questions by demanding to know why they were interrogating him and insisting that they should introduce themselves first if they wanted to know about him. He clarified that he was the one who had killed all the evil hunters, describing how he had dismembered them to erase all traces of their existence. He even threatened the agent, warning that he would do the same to him if necessary. However, instead of being intimidated, the agent found amusement in Baphomet's words and began to laugh. This reaction confused Baphomet, especially when the agent asked if he could kill him and then entered the room with a smile, seemingly unafraid. The agent challenged Baphomet to make his next move. Feeling threatened by the agent's confidence, Baphomet attempted to grab him, But to his surprise, the agent proved to be much stronger. The agent easily pinned Baphomet to the ground, prompting Baphomet to realize that the person before him was incredibly powerful. The agent introduced himself as a member of the Government Guild, a covert organization created to combat hunters who commit crimes against humanity, known as rogue hunters. He sought clarification from Baphomet regarding the hunter he had killed, explaining that the individual was a target for immediate elimination due to their involvement in anti-human activities. These crimes included posing as a grave hunter, preying on innocent hunters, and trafficking their organs to buyers who believed they would gain health or immortality from awakened organs. The agents expressed gratitude to Baphomet for alleviating them of the burden of dealing with the rogue hunter. They questioned whether Baphomet had truly killed the individual responsible for brutally murdering 5 men, noting the meticulous handling of the crime scenes, which suggested the work of an expert rather than a recently awakened individual. The agent, drawing from his experience, noted that cases like the one Baphomet was involved in often involved individuals with extensive experience in killing. Despite finding only information about Baphomet being a con artist, the agent attempted to discern the true nature of Baphomet's character. He expressed his impression that Baphomet was indeed a dangerous guy. Listening to the agent's assessment only served to further irritate Baphomet. Despite the considerable effort it took for him to become human, he couldn't shake the feeling of frustration at not being able to match the likes of the agent in combat. He wondered if things would have been different if he had possessed the same freedom of movement as Raven or the agent in front of him, believing that they would have been at his mercy. Suddenly, as the agent was about to kill our boy, the story shifts to the Hunter's Central Administration headquarters, where we see Baphomet applying to become a hunter. Now we return to the scene where the agent was about to kill Baphomet. However, it turns out that it was just a test. When asked if he was afraid of dying, Baphomet responded that even if they were in danger, they couldn't recklessly kill someone. The agent quite liked our boy personally, believing that he would be able to handle any issue if he is such an instinctive person. And so, the agent decided to recruit Baphomet as a hunter for rogue activities, believing that he should offer his natural talent for killing to the rogue cause. Baphomet agreed and became registered as a hunter. He recalled the agent's promise to make slight changes to his identity and to enlist the help of other institutions for his aptitude tests. When asked about his registered code name, Baphomet remembered the policy of creating separate usernames for hunters and ordinary people. He understood the necessity for secrecy in their line of work and knew that refusing the code name would attract unwanted attention. Therefore, he decided to accept it, acknowledging the need to navigate his new identity discreetly. As Baphomet contemplated his new role, a smile formed on his face. He couldn't help but think that the agent will soon regret giving him this chance. Determined to become stronger than anyone else, he vowed to strike fear into the hearts of all who heard his name, Baphomet. Time passed after becoming a hunter, and we witnessed our boy engaging in his missions, including the task of hunting down wolves. It was evident that he had grown significantly stronger. Suddenly, a boss furry werewolf emerged, poised to attack our boy. However, just as the furry werewolf was about to strike, it halted, creating an awkward moment. Baphomet raised his hands and began to recite an incantation, but to no avail. Realizing that his invocation had failed, he swiftly dispatched the furry werewolf with a single punch, ending its life. Having completed his mission, Baphomet realized that his strength had not fully returned. He pondered the reason behind this, recalling a hidden quest from days prior. It involved getting angry on behalf of humans, with the promise of being rewarded with the strength he desired. Reflecting on this, he concluded that his recent increase in strength was likely due to his goal of eliminating a criminal hunter. However, he remained puzzled as to why the system continued to demand things from him, both during his time in the tower and now as a human. Realizing that he wouldn't find an answer merely by contemplating, Baphomet had already made up his mind about what to do next. While walking, he continued pondering over his strength, considering the possibility of regaining lost powers. Suddenly, an evil laugh echoed behind him, prompting him to turn around. To his relief, it was just his manager, the agent, who questioned him about seeking attention. The agent criticized Baphomet for adopting the tower boss's name as his alias, reminding him not to do anything to attract unnecessary attention. The agent went on to remark that Baphomet seemed to harbor resentment towards those who labeled him a con artist. Despite rumors tarnishing his reputation among hunters, Baphomet remained indifferent to the agent's nagging, refusing to let it affect him. Upon hearing the investigation results regarding the Tower of Abyss, Baphomet was surprised to learn that a hunter named Raven was the one who actually cleared the tower. The agent elaborated, explaining that the situation had worsened because the top hunter of South Korea had sacrificed his life to eliminate Baphomet. In response, Baphomet questioned whether he was expected to tiptoe around everyone. He expressed his indifference to the gossip surrounding him, having heard enough to make him sick and tired. Instead, he resolved to become stronger, ensuring that those who spoke ill of him would think twice before opening their mouths again. A brief silence followed, irritating the agent. Accusing Baphomet of merely boasting, the agent challenged him to confidently handle the consequences of his actions, and so he decided to send Baphomet to Jeju Island. As Baphomet reached to that island, he was starstruck and was in awe to see the sea for the first time, where he only saw it on his phone when he was in the tower. As Baphomet's partner named Tae-young tells him to take a taxi from there, our boy was just too excited to see the sea for the first time. It was as if he was in Disneyland or something. Making his partner more irritated and annoyed, Tae-young recalls the day when he was talking to the agent. They were discussing Baphomet, mentioning that this kind of work isn't something a normal person can do. They need someone who's lacking enough to become twisted, asking him to keep an eye on our boy. Here we can see Baphomet, who's curious about foreigners as he creepily stares at them carefully, stating that this is the different race that humans were talking about. Tae-young was annoyed by our boy's actions, so he dragged him to get to the taxi. Finally, they reached the place where the new hunters will be held, the Harleton Hotel, where all the new hunters will be given an orientation and a training program to help the hunters adapt well. Baphomet asked his partner why he would do something like that, and asked more about why hunters just have to defeat some monsters. Tae-young explained that it is because there are a lot more boomer higher-ups in Korea than in other countries. Unlike in other countries, the hunters are appointed by the nation itself. Tae-young then gives him the luggage identification card and the smartphone and tells him that his name will be Cha Min-woo when they are outside. As Baphomet sees his identity card, he remembers his friend's words about using his name as it is, making our boy a little bit sad about the past. Baphomet then attended the orientation, and it was revealed that the event manager for the orientation would be the agent, whose name was revealed to be Ma Seong-un, but we could just call him Seong for short. After the orientation, they all took a break. Baphomet confronted Seong about what was going on, expressing his knowledge that Seong was part of the rogue group, and asked about it. Seong responded that he is a member of the Central Hunter Management on the outside. Baphomet was amazed that Seong managed to fool everyone. Seong teased him, stating that it was better than being called the con man of the century. Nevertheless, Seong noticed that all the members of the Hunters had been talking about Baphomet for a while now. He guessed that they must have formed a strong friendship after going through all the trouble together because of Baphomet. Additionally, they murmured about Baphomet and called him a scammer, especially since he had nicknamed himself as Baphomet. Seong whispered something to him, asking him not to act like she knows him, as he didn't want to be treated as an outcast as well. Then he left. However, Baphomet didn't care much about that. He was fine and decided to mind his own business and eat. Meanwhile, at Seong's table, one of his co-workers asked about him, inquiring what they were talking about with the new hunter. Of course, Seong needed to cover it up, so he responded that it wasn't much, really. He just asked him about the schedule and stuff. His co-workers continued discussing our big boy, knowing that someone like him should be banned by the government, as they were aware that he was a swindler or con artist. They were offended that he even used Baphomet as an alias. Seong heard all of this and questioned them if they were trying to oppose the decision made by the government. He reminded them that being disobedient to the government is against the rules, which made all of them sharp and quick to apologize. As they continued to talk, Seong noticed Baphomet and wondered why he had such a blissful expression. He wondered if Baphomet was trying to enjoy it since he couldn't avoid it, and he thought that our boy must have a strong enough mentality to disregard all of the murmurs. But then suddenly Seong was surprised and wondered why A-rank hunters were in this place. This, of course, made Seong very nervous about what was about to happen. One of his co-workers reminded him that the A-rank hunters were starting their special training program today, which could also have a positive influence on the new hunter. However, hearing that didn't make Seong feel well about this, knowing that our boy would create a ruckus. On the other hand, we can see Baphomet enjoying all the meals that he's seeing, recalling that he saw them on his smartphone and was excited to see them in real life when he used to be a demon. However, when he was about to eat, someone threw water on his head, shocking all the new hunters. This person approached Baphomet, recognizing him as the famous Baphomet. This guy, named Leon, an A-rank hunter, started to mock Baphomet, saying he was just a person despite what his mark looked like. An executive approached Leon and asked what he was doing, telling him not to act rashly as everyone was watching. Leon defended himself, saying he couldn't just let it slide after seeing Baphomet. Now, this executive apologized to Baphomet. However, he also agreed with Leon that Baphomet was not innocent, mentioning the loss of many fellow hunters because of the demon called Baphomet. The fact that Baphomet operated under that code name only made it seem as if he was mocking other hunters, which surprised Baphomet. So the executive suggested that Baphomet choose something more appropriate. But while he was talking to Baphomet, our boy threw his meal towards Leon, shocking everyone who witnessed it. On the other hand, Seong was so shocked that he completely fell unconscious. This action infuriated Leon, who attempted to intimidate our boy and even threatened him, asking if he wanted to die. However, our boy remained unfazed. In response, Baphomet wondered what all the fuss was about, stating that it was just a name and that it's not like he would resurrect just because he used it. This only made Leon more furious. Furthermore, Baphomet stood his ground, questioning Leon's motives and suggesting that if he truly cared about his comrades, he should have defeated Baphomet a little earlier. Baphomet speculated that all Leon was doing was boasting about his weakness, implying that he wasn't skilled enough to handle the situation. As our boy observed Leon's face, he wondered if he had offended him significantly. This only seemed to enrage Leon further as he prepared to punch him, asking if our boy was done talking. At that moment, the system notified them that an above-skill-raising physical ability was in effect. He then tells him that the monster called Baphomet is the one who killed their idol, none other than Raven. It was revealed that Raven was his old friend, which Leon praised for his strong punches. With that, Leon is now about to punch Baphomet, planning to either touch him or block the attack, but he knows that he will see blood, no matter what he chooses. Suddenly, a man with the same color as Raven stops him and tells Leon that fighting here is against the rules. Both of them are surprised to see who stopped the fight. Baphomet is surprised as well and realizes that he has seen the guy's face before. It is revealed that he is Raven's little brother who resembles his looks. And with that, this concludes this part of this amazing series. I hope you all enjoyed the story, leaving us wondering what would happen next. Thank you for watching.